Hello and welcome to Daily Elder Advice, the channel where we talk honestly and compassionately about what it really means to grow older with grace, strength, and clarity. If this is your first time here, we're so glad you found us. On this channel, we dive into the real experiences of aging, the quiet shifts, the surprising emotions, and the deep wisdom that comes with time. Aging isn't a gentle walk into the sunset, it's a winding, unpredictable path filled with challenges no one truly prepares us for. We hear about wisdom, retirement, and freedom, but we don't often talk about the quieter truths, the little frustrations that slowly chip away at our confidence, our comfort, and sometimes our dignity. As a gerontologist with over 25 years studying human aging, and having walked this journey alongside thousands of older adults, I can tell you with absolute certainty, growing older is not just about slowing down. It's about adapting, not passively accepting decline, but actively reshaping how we live, think, and connect. In this guide, we'll go deep into 12 unpleasant but very real truths that nearly every senior faces. Things like memory lapses, mood shifts, physical changes, and the quiet grief of social losses. But more importantly, I won't stop at naming the problem. For each, I'll give you the tools, the mindset, and the stories that show how others have triumphed and how you can too. This is not just a list of symptoms, it's a roadmap to reclaim strength, purpose, and resilience in the face of aging's harshest surprises. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, this video is for you, your loved ones, and anyone who's ready to face the truth and live better because of it. And if you're new here, welcome to Daily Elder Advice, where we explore what it really means to age with wisdom, dignity, and joy. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a story that speaks to your heart. And as always, we'd love to hear from you in the comments, your thoughts, your stories, your journey. This channel grows because of you. If you've ever thought to yourself, why didn't anyone tell me this? This video is for you. Don't forget to like the video if you find it helpful. Subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss our weekly content made just for you. And most importantly, please share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to know, have you experienced any of these aging shifts? How have you learned to cope, adapt, or grow through them? This channel is a community, and your voice helps make it stronger. Chapter 1. The Mind Slip, Forgetting Names and Important Details. The story, the grocery store freeze. It started as a pleasant walk through the produce section. Martha, a retired piano teacher of 72, had a routine. Every Tuesday morning, she'd pick up her favorite plums and catch up on local gossip with familiar faces at the community grocer. But this morning was different. As she reached for a bag of spinach, a voice called out, "Martha, oh, it's so good to see you." Martha turned and saw a smiling woman, warm eyes, silver streaks in her hair, arms outstretched for a hug. They embraced. The woman started chatting about her son's graduation, the new dog she'd adopted, and plans for an upcoming garden party. Martha smiled, nodded, laughed politely, but deep inside, she was panicking. She had no idea who this woman was. Not just her name, Martha couldn't remember her face, her connection, or why this encounter felt vaguely familiar yet totally ungraspable. The longer the conversation went on, the more ashamed she felt. After parting with a friendly, "See you soon," Martha left the store early. She sat in her car with the engine off for 10 minutes. Eyes closed, trying to trace the woman's identity through the fog of her memory. It never came. At home, she opened an old photo album, and there she was, Helen, her neighbor for 15 years. They had shared cookies over the fence, looked after each other's mail, even gardened side by side. Martha cried, not just from forgetting, but from what the forgetting symbolized. That something was changing, that something might be fading. That night, she didn't sleep well. The next day, she called her daughter and whispered into the phone, "I think something's wrong with me." But it wasn't just Martha. It's millions of seniors, every day, feeling that same sting of uncertainty, that same fear. And that's where we begin this story of aging, not in diagnosis, but in humanity, the science, why this happens, Forgetfulness is one of the earliest and most common complaints in aging adults. It doesn't always signal dementia. It's often a result of normal age-related cognitive change. According to the National Institute on Aging, the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory, tends to shrink slightly with age. And the body produces less dopamine, a chemical vital to memory and focus. Sleep quality, chronic stress, and even dehydration can all impair short-term memory. In fact, one landmark study published in Neurology found that seniors with poor sleep patterns experienced memory recall difficulties up to 30% more than their well-rested peers. The cultural narrative, shame around slipping. Our society celebrates sharpness and quick wit, but doesn't leave room for the slower recall that often comes with age. Forgetting names or repeating stories becomes a punchline, rather than an invitation for understanding. But memory is not just about biology, it's deeply emotional. Forgetting someone's name can feel like forgetting a part of your identity, your history, or your dignity, and that's where the quiet shame begins to fester. What you can do: practical tools for real life. 1. Use external memory aids. Keep a small notebook or phone app where you jot down names, facts, or reminders after social encounters. One elder I met calls it her connection journal. 2. Mental warm-ups. Before social events, glance over old photos or guest lists to refamiliarize yourself with names. 3. Be honest and lighthearted. Say, "I know we've met, and I remember our chats well, but your name just slipped my mind." Most people respond with kindness, not judgment. 4. Sleep and nutrition. Improve recall by supporting your brain. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep and eat memory-boosting foods like berries, leafy greens, nuts, and oily fish. 5. Keep learning. Try brain games or memory apps. Better yet, learn a new instrument, language, or hobby. Novelty stimulates the hippocampus and strengthens neuroplasticity. Legacy insight. Your mind is more than memory. One of the most important things I've learned from the elders I've worked with is this: your worth isn't measured by what you remember, but by what you choose to value. Even if a name slips your mind, the kindness you show, the curiosity you carry, and the way you make others feel, those are your legacy. One of my clients, George, who had early-stage Alzheimer's, once said, "I may forget where I put my keys, but I'll never forget how to make someone feel loved." Forgetfulness is a natural part of the aging process, but it doesn't have to define you. Instead of viewing memory lapses as signs of failure or decline, we must begin to reframe them as moments of adaptation, of self-awareness, and of growth. The mind, just like the body, changes with time, but these changes don't strip you of your dignity. They invite you to engage with life more intentionally. Memory isn't just about recalling names or dates. It's about relationships, feelings, and the invisible threads that tie us to each other. Even when specific details slip away, what remains is the emotional resonance of kindness, warmth, and human connection. In fact, studies show that emotional memory often outlasts factual memory. What someone made you feel can linger far longer than what they said. If you find yourself forgetting names or losing your train of thought, don't let fear isolate you. Let curiosity lead you instead. Be open about what you're going through. Create systems to support your memory rather than trying to power through alone. Surround yourself with people who understand that aging is a shared journey, not a solo burden. And most importantly, choose presence over perfection. Be fully in the moment with those around you. Because in the end, it's not how many names you remember, but how many hearts you continue to touch. In the next chapter, we'll explore something that sneaks up even more quietly than memory loss: sudden exhaustion. Stay with me. Chapter 2. Unexpected fatigue, when simple tasks drain you. The story: the garden she couldn't finish. For nearly 40 years, Mrs. Beatrice Langley had been known as the sunflower lady of her neighborhood. Rain or shine, spring or fall, Beatrice could be found in her backyard, pruning roses, pulling weeds, humming hymns while trimming the hedges. Gardening wasn't just a hobby, it was therapy, identity, joy. Neighbors often joked that her garden knew more of her secrets than any living soul. She had planted roses when her husband returned from surgery, tulips when her first grandson was born, and an entire bed of lavender the year she turned 70, saying it helped her sleep better. But last summer, something changed. On a bright June morning, Beatrice, now 76, woke early to tend to her flower beds. She watered the daisies, clipped a few vines, and kneeled down to loosen the soil near the marigolds. Then, suddenly, she felt her arms go heavy, her breath short, her heart pounding as though she'd run a mile. She sat back, dizzy. The tools slipped from her hand. Her legs trembled. The scent of the soil turned nauseating. And for the first time in her life, she left the garden unfinished. Later that afternoon, her daughter Sarah visited and found her asleep in the recliner, still wearing gardening gloves. "I don't know what's happening," Beatrice admitted, eyes wide with worry. "I used to work out there for hours. Now I can barely last 15 minutes. In the days that followed, Beatrice tried again, first for 20 minutes, then 10. Each time, she had to lie down, and with each failed attempt, a sadness crept in. She began skipping mornings altogether, staying in her robe longer, sipping tea by the window instead of tending to her blooms. Her confidence wilted like the overgrown petals outside. The research: what's really happening inside? As we age, the body's ability to recover and generate energy decreases. Mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses of our cells, become less efficient, leading to reduced endurance and slower recovery. Additionally, hormonal changes, inflammation, and even common medications can contribute to sudden tiredness. A study from the Journal of Gerontology reported that nearly 1 in 3 seniors over 65 experience daily fatigue, even without underlying disease. The issue? Many assume it's just getting older and fail to make adjustments that could help. The emotional weight of fatigue, more than just being tired. Unexpected fatigue has a way of making you question your strength. It interrupts routines, halts passions, and slowly convinces you that you're not the same person anymore. Fatigue whispers lies. You're lazy, you're weak, you're broken, but none of that is true. Fatigue is not failure, it's a message. Your body is talking to you, asking you to pay attention, to pace differently, to care more gently. What you can do: practical, gentle shifts. 1. Respect your energy rhythm. Break your day into energy zones. When do you feel most awake? Plan key tasks for those hours. 2. Chunk your tasks. Instead of gardening for 2 hours straight, do it in 15-minute blocks with breaks in between. 3. Stay hydrated. Even mild dehydration can cause exhaustion. Aim for 6 to 8 glasses of water daily. 4. Mind your meals. Eat smaller, balanced meals throughout the day. Protein, leafy greens, and complex carbs can fuel consistent energy. 5. Say no more often. Protect your energy like it's your retirement savings. Spend it on what truly matters. 6. Consult your doctor. Persistent fatigue could be linked to thyroid issues, sleep apnea, anemia, or medication side effects. Don't self-diagnose. Real-life insight. Strength doesn't mean endless stamina. Beatrice eventually adjusted her gardening routine. She started working in the early mornings only, using a stool and ergonomic tools. She asked Sarah to help with the heavier lifting, but she never gave up her flowers. In fact, her garden grew more beautiful, not despite her limits, but because she honored them. "I've learned to listen to my body the way I once listened to the soil," she told me. "It tells you what it needs if you're quiet enough to hear it." Sudden exhaustion doesn't mean you're weak. It means your body is evolving, and your relationship with effort must evolve too. In our youth, energy feels endless. We rush, we multitask, we push through. But as we age, energy becomes sacred. It becomes something to steward, not spend carelessly. That shift isn't loss, it's wisdom. What if we saw rest not as retreat, but as renewal? What if we honored pauses as much as progress? Beatrice's story reminds us that even when our pace slows, our purpose doesn't fade. The things we love, gardening, walking, painting, mentoring, can still flourish, so long as we find new rhythms that match who we are today. Fatigue is a nudge, a teacher, a guardian of your well-being. When it shows up, don't fight it blindly. Ask it what it needs. Listen closely. Adjust. Because true strength in aging isn't doing everything, it's knowing what matters most. And doing that with heart, grace, and intention. Chapter 3. The creeping weight, why you're gaining despite doing the same. The story. Harold and the jacket that wouldn't button. Harold Sampson, age 68, was a creature of habit, Every morning, without fail, he would rise at 6:30 a.m., enjoy a light breakfast of oatmeal and banana, and take his 3-mile walk through the park before the sun fully warmed the pavement. He didn't eat fast food. He never smoked. He drank a single glass of red wine every Friday night, more out of ritual than desire. And yet, something was changing. It began one cool October morning. Harold was getting ready to attend his granddaughter's piano recital and reached for his favorite navy blue jacket, a tailored one he'd worn to every family event since his retirement party. But when he tried to button it, he hesitated, tugged, adjusted his shoulders, sucked in. It wouldn't close. He laughed it off, blaming the dry cleaners or a misaligned button. But the next week, the same happened with a pair of slacks, then a belt, then a t-shirt that had once been loose around his midsection. "I haven't changed a thing," he muttered, standing before the mirror. But his body had. Harold, like many seniors, was experiencing the silent and frustrating reality of aging. Unexplained weight gain. Even when routines stayed the same, it wasn't just about food. It wasn't laziness. It was biology, and it hit him hard. He became more self-conscious, started skipping social events, began eating less, even when he felt hungry. But the scale continued to creep. Then one day, his daughter brought over an article titled, "Aging, Metabolism, and the Myth of Doing Enough." It opened his eyes. I realized I wasn't failing. He told me I was just using old rules to manage a new body. The science. Why your body is changing. As we age, several key physiological shifts occur that affect weight. Metabolic rate slows down. Your basal metabolic rate can drop by up to 2% per decade after age 30. That means fewer calories are burned at rest. Muscle mass declines. Without resistance training, adults lose about 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade after 40. Less muscle equals slower metabolism. Hormonal changes. In both men and women, changes in testosterone, estrogen, and growth hormone can impact fat storage and appetite regulation. Mobility and activity often decrease, even if your habits feel unchanged. Micro-adjustments, like shorter walks, more time sitting, can add up over time. The emotional toll of gaining weight. For many older adults, unexpected weight gain feels like betrayal. You spend your life being disciplined, responsible, moderate, and suddenly your body seems to act on its own. This can lead to shame, self-blame, anxiety about health, or even withdrawal from social life. Many begin to restrict food too drastically or fall for miracle diets not designed for aging bodies. But here's the truth. Weight gain after 60 is common, and it doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. What you can do: sustainable adjustments that honor your body. 1. Focus on nutrient density. Swap out calorie-dense, low-nutrient foods, white bread, sugary snacks for fiber-rich veggies, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. 2. Strength train at least twice a week. Build or maintain muscle mass to increase resting metabolism. Resistance bands, light weights, or body weight exercises all count. 3. Watch portions, not just ingredients. Aging bodies often need 200 to 400 fewer calories per day than they once did. 4. Don't skip meals. Skipping meals can lower energy levels and slow metabolism. Eat mindfully, not fearfully. 5. Sleep more, stress less. Poor sleep and chronic stress increase cortisol, a hormone linked to abdominal weight gain. 6. Get regular checkups. Conditions like hypothyroidism or insulin resistance can also contribute to weight gain. Rule out medical causes. Real-life insight. Reclaiming confidence without the scale. Harold eventually stopped fixating on his old wardrobe and started focusing on how he felt instead. He began doing Tai Chi in the mornings and joined a senior walking group. He still enjoyed his oatmeal, but added flaxseed and Greek yogurt for extra protein. Most importantly, he began to forgive his body and himself. "I'm not trying to be the man I was at 45. He said, "I'm trying to be the best version of me at 68. That's more than enough. Weight gain after 60 is not a personal failing, it's a biological shift. A reflection of how your body is adjusting to a new stage of life. And yet, so many older adults feel like they've somehow let themselves go, like they've broken an invisible promise to stay disciplined forever. But let's be honest, Discipline looks different at 68 than it did at 38. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. What if we stopped using the mirror or the scale as our main health indicators? What if we paid more attention to how our bodies move, how well we sleep, how deeply we breathe, and how freely we laugh? Your weight may fluctuate, but your value doesn't. Your worth doesn't shrink because your waistline grows. In fact, some of the wisest, kindest, most inspiring people I've ever met in my decades of work with seniors carry a little extra weight because they've lived. They've celebrated, they've endured, and yes, their bodies have changed. This chapter isn't just about managing calories or trimming inches. It's about reclaiming peace with your body. It's about refusing to punish yourself for simply aging. Instead of fearing food, make peace with it. Instead of fighting your body, support it. Instead of chasing your younger self, embrace who you are today with new routines, new priorities, and most importantly, new grace. True health in later life is about vitality, not vanity. It's about staying connected to what brings you meaning, keeping your body strong enough to do what matters, and being kind to yourself along the way. So next time you feel frustrated, remember Harold. Remember that even if the jacket no longer buttons, you still carry all the love, experience, and resilience that got you here. You spent decades building a meaningful life that deserves a body treated with compassion, not criticism. Chapter 4. The Appointment Spiral, Feeling Trapped in Medical Visits. The story, Dolores and her color-coded calendar. Every inch of Dolores Medina's kitchen wall calendar was covered in color. Green stickers for general checkups, blue for blood work, red for specialist appointments, yellow for her husband's cardiology visits. She had been using the color coding system for years, ever since her first brush with high blood pressure at 62. Now at 74, her calendar looked more like a hospital directory than a monthly planner. "I feel like a part-time employee at the doctor's office," she joked once, though the laugh didn't quite reach her eyes. She never skipped an appointment. She tracked every lab result, noted every side effect, and dutifully followed every new prescription. But lately, the visits were piling up. Between her arthritis, her cholesterol medication, her eye pressure, and her husband's dementia screenings, it was hard to keep track. One morning, she sat in the waiting room of her primary care doctor and realized she had no idea why she was there. "I just knew I was supposed to be," she told me later, but I couldn't remember what for. Dolores began feeling something she'd never expected in her retirement: medical fatigue. She wasn't afraid of doctors, but she was tired of being a patient. Tired of sitting under fluorescent lights, repeating the same medical history, hearing the same vague warnings, and leaving with more tests, more pills, more confusion. And worst of all, she had stopped feeling like a person. She felt like a case file. The reality, the burden of staying on top of health. As we grow older, health checkups become more frequent and more complex. What starts as a simple annual exam turns into a routine of quarterly labs, monthly check-ins, and ongoing screenings. In many cases, this is good. Early detection saves lives. But for many seniors, the process becomes overwhelming. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control reports that adults over 65 average 14 physician visits per year. That's more than one visit a month, each requiring transportation, energy, mental preparation, and follow-up care. This increase in medical engagement often creates emotional strain, especially when appointments begin to replace social or leisure activities. It can feel like life is being structured around illness, rather than around joy. Why this feels so exhausting? The loss of autonomy. When medical routines dominate, seniors often feel like they've lost control over their schedules. Information overload, new diagnoses, treatment options, conflicting advice, all that can overwhelm cognitive bandwidth. Emotional drain. Constantly focusing on symptoms and risks can lead to anxiety, depression, and a reduced sense of vitality. Lack of personal connection. Many older adults report feeling like just another number in today's rushed and overburdened healthcare systems. What you can do: take back control of the process. 1. Create a medical binder. Keep all your records, medications, questions, and lab results in one place. Bring it to every visit. 2. Set a health visit rhythm. Ask your doctors if some appointments can be spaced out or combined. Many agreed to 6-month instead of 3-month check-ins when conditions are stable. 3. Designate a health advocate. A family member or friend who joins you for appointments can help track instructions and ask clarifying questions. 4. Prepare purposefully. Before each appointment, write down your 3 main concerns. Don't leave without addressing them. 5. Ask for written summaries. Many clinics can print or email a simple visit summary with key takeaways. 6. Schedule joy too. For every appointment you mark on your calendar, add a joyful activity too. Coffee with a friend, a movie night, a walk in the park. Real-life insight, from overwhelmed to empowered. Dolores eventually shifted how she approached healthcare. She stopped saying yes to every referral, asked clearer questions, and gave herself permission to pause when she felt overloaded. With her daughter's help, she built a simpler health journal and used it to guide every discussion with her providers. I stopped being the perfect patient, she smiled, and started being my own best advocate. Your health is important, but it should never become your whole identity. As we age, we're told to stay on top of our health, and rightly so. But what no one tells us is how easily that vigilance can become overwhelming. When you spend more time in waiting rooms than living rooms, when your calendar is filled with scans and scripts but not stories and smiles, it's easy to feel like life is slipping away one appointment at a time. This is the silent toll of aging no one prepares us for: medical burnout. The fatigue of being monitored, measured, poked, and prescribed until you forget what it means to just be. To be well, not because of a number on a chart, but because you lacked today. You hugged someone, you felt sunlight on your skin and joy in your chest. It's time we reclaim our humanity within the healthcare system. That means asking more questions, saying no when we need rest, taking the lead in conversations with our doctors, not just nodding in agreement. It means remembering that we are the ones living in our bodies, not the ones reading the printouts. A well-lived life is not one defined by perfect lab results. It's defined by balance, by making room for wonder, connection, and peace even in the midst of maintenance. Medical care should be a support beam, not the entire structure. So yes, go to the appointments, take your medications, follow up on your tests, but don't forget to also follow up with your spirit. Schedule a sunrise walk, revisit an old hobby, call an old friend, sit in silence with a cup of tea and no agenda but presence. Because health isn't just about living longer, it's about living deeper. You are more than a patient. You are a person, a whole, vibrant, evolving soul. So speak up, slow down, organize smartly, and never forget to schedule joy right next to your follow-up. Chapter 5. The Fogged Mind. Focus and memory aren't what they used to be. The story. When Rita forgot the stove. Rita, age 73, had always been the multitasking queen of her family. She raised 3 kids, ran a small art supply store for over 2 decades, and was the kind of woman who could recite birthdays, family recipes, and neighbor phone numbers from memory. She never needed sticky notes. Her mind was the calendar, the Rolodex, the daily planner. So when she burned a pot of rice after leaving the stove on for nearly an hour, she was shaken. It wasn't the smell of smoke that frightened her. It was the fact that she'd completely forgotten she was cooking. She had wandered off to fold laundry, then checked emails, then made a phone call, and by the time she smelled the scorched pan, she couldn't remember how long it had been. I felt like I was disappearing. She later said, like someone had taken an eraser to part of my brain. Her kids started to worry. So did she. Was this dementia? Was she losing it? Her doctor ran cognitive tests, and the results came back normal. The culprit, a combination of poor sleep, dehydration, and what researchers call age-related cognitive slowing, a common but often frightening experience. Rita wasn't facing disease, she was facing transition. The science. Why focus and clarity decline with age? As we get older, our brains naturally experience structural and chemical changes. Neural pathways become less efficient, making information processing slower. Dopamine production, linked to motivation and attention, decreases. Prefrontal cortex thinning affects multitasking and decision-making. Sleep quality and stress interfere with memory consolidation and alertness. These changes don't mean dementia, they mean the brain is adapting. According to a study in Nature Reviews Neuroscience, Age-related memory loss differs significantly from Alzheimer's or cognitive impairment. It's more about processing delay than total memory loss. What it feels like: you walk into a room and forget why you came in. You lose your train of thought mid-sentence. You struggle to stay focused when reading a book or watching a documentary. You forget names seconds after hearing them. All of this can be alarming, but it doesn't mean you're broken. It means your brain is asking for new strategies. What you can do: habits that strengthen the mind. 1. Give your brain a break. Stop expecting it to perform like it did in your 30s. Allow space between tasks. Rest is brain food. 2. Simplify your environment. Less clutter equals less distraction. Use labels, checklists, and routines to reduce cognitive load. 3. Practice focused attention. Try single tasking. When drinking tea, just drink tea. This strengthens your attention muscle. 4. Feed your brain. Eat healthy fats like walnuts, olive oil, greens, and berries. Hydrate consistently. 5. Move daily. Exercise boosts blood flow to the brain, improving memory and alertness. 6. Sleep like it's sacred. Poor sleep is a leading cause of brain fog. Establish a calming bedtime routine and protect your rest. 7. Challenge your mind. Learn a new hobby, language, or skill. Puzzles, reading, creative writing, all keep your neurons active. Real-life insight. Learning to trust a new mental rhythm. Rita eventually changed how she approached her days. She started journaling, keeping a memory board by the fridge with reminders and inspirations. She gave herself longer periods to complete tasks and stopped feeling guilty for using timers and phone alarms. I used to think forgetting something made me less of myself, she told me. Now I realize it's just a new way of being me, one that's a little slower, but a lot more intentional. A fogged mind is not a failing, it's a signal. Called to slow down, refocus, and meet yourself where you are. We live in a world that prizes sharpness, speed, and multitasking, but the aging brain isn't broken, it's simply evolving. And with evolution comes a different rhythm. You may forget where you placed your glasses or pause mid-sentence to gather your thoughts. These aren't signs of collapse, they're signs of recalibration. Your brain is shifting from doing more to doing meaningfully, from fast recall to deeper reflection, from multitasking chaos to present moment clarity. And that shift can be a gift. Cognitive changes invite you to slow down, not as a loss, but as a return to presence, to listening more than reacting, to savoring over speeding, to focusing your precious mental energy not on remembering every detail, but on embracing every moment. Rita didn't lose herself when she forgot the stove. She found a new version of herself, one who created structure, used tools, and accepted help. She showed us that adapting is not defeat, it's wisdom in action. So don't fear the fog. Walk through it gently. Name what matters. Support your brain with rest, with nutrition, with love. Let go of perfection. Let go of shame. You are not your sharpness. You are your stories, your presence, your grace. And sometimes, the beauty of aging isn't in how fast you think, but in how deeply you reflect, how kindly you respond, and how fully you show up for yourself and for others. Chapter 6. The Quiet Void. Loneliness in an Empty Room. The story. After the funeral. Silence. After her husband passed, Eleanor James, age 79, found herself standing in a kitchen that still smelled faintly of his favorite coffee. They had been married for 52 years. For most of those mornings, they had shared quiet rituals. He would toast the bread, she'd peel the fruit, the radio would hum softly in the background, and together, they'd ease into the day. Now the silence was deafening. At first, Eleanor stayed busy. She organized closets, donated old clothes, even picked up watercolor painting again. But as the months passed and the sympathy cards stopped arriving, so did the visitors. Her days grew quieter, her meals lonelier, her phone calls fewer. She found herself speaking out loud, to no one in particular, just to fill the room with sound. I never imagined loneliness could feel like weight, she told me once, but it settles into your bones. Eleanor is far from alone in her experience. Yet, ironically, loneliness is one of the most isolating feelings because it convinces us we're the only ones going through it. The reality, the epidemic of elder loneliness. According to the U.S. Surgeon General's 2023 report, over 1/3 of adults over 60 report feeling lonely, often or almost all the time. And loneliness isn't just emotional, it's physical. Chronic loneliness is associated with higher rates of heart disease and stroke, increased inflammation and weakened immunity, greater risk of cognitive decline and dementia, a 26% increase in early mortality risk. In fact, the health impact of loneliness has been compared to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Why it happens: loss of spouse or friends, grief changes social patterns and emotional bandwidth, reduced mobility, makes outings and visits harder, retirement, loss of daily structure and social interaction, generational disconnect. Adult children are often busy or far away. Digital divide. Technology can help, but not all seniors feel comfortable navigating it. What you can do: rebuilding connection in new ways. 1. Acknowledge it without shame. Loneliness is not a weakness. It's a human need going unmet. 2. Re-engage in purpose. Volunteer, mentor, or join local senior initiatives. Being needed brings vitality. 3. Practice micro-connections. Smile at a neighbor. Chat with the cashier. These small exchanges still nourish. 4. Schedule social time. Treat connection like medicine. Book it into your week. 5. Explore technology gently. Learn to use video calls, voice messages, or social platforms at your own pace. 6. Create rituals, a weekly book club, a daily walk, a shared meal, even virtual ones anchor your days. 7. Ask for help. Let others know when you need company. Many don't realize how silent your world has become. Real-life insight: finding belonging again. Eleanor eventually joined a senior painting circle at her local library. Every Tuesday afternoon, she'd pack her brushes, walk a few blocks, and sit among 8 other older adults who also knew something about silence. "We don't always talk much," she smiled, "but there's comfort in the rustling of paper, the sound of brushes. We're quiet together, and somehow, that's louder than being alone." Loneliness is not just the absence of people. It's the absence of being seen, of being heard, of being truly known. It sneaks in slowly after a spouse passes, after children move away, after friendships fade with time or illness or distance. One morning, you wake up and realize the phone hasn't rung in days. The meals are quiet, the laughter feels like an echo. But loneliness is not a life sentence. It's a signal, a tender reminder that the human spirit was never designed to live in isolation. We are social beings, wired for connection, no matter how old we grow. And here's the truth: it's not too late to belong again. Connection doesn't always come in the form of grand gestures. Sometimes it starts with a smile, a kind word to the clerk at the market, a handwritten letter, a shared silence in a room of painters. Each act is a thread that rebuilds the fabric of community. You may think you've grown invisible, but you haven't. You matter, and someone, somewhere, is quietly hoping someone like you will show up in their life. Don't underestimate your impact, your story, your wisdom, your warmth. These are gifts waiting to be shared. So reach out, reclaim your seat at the table of connection. You're not intruding, you're inviting. Even if you've been alone for a long time, even if it feels awkward at first, keep reaching. One hello can lead to a habit. One habit can become a lifeline. Because loneliness may whisper that you're forgotten, but connection shouts that you're still needed. And you are, deeply, deservedly, always. As we reach the end of part 1 of our journey through the 12 uncomfortable truths of aging, one truth rises above them all. Getting older is not a problem to be solved, it's a transformation to be honored. In these first 6 chapters, we've walked together through the emotional and physical shifts that often catch us off guard. Memory lapses, sudden exhaustion, creeping weight gain, a calendar filled with medical appointments, mental fog, and the quiet ache of loneliness. Each of these experiences, though challenging, holds the potential to awaken a deeper strength, a more compassionate perspective, a softer way of living. These truths aren't here to scare you, they're here to set you free. Free from shame, free from isolation, free to live your later years with wisdom, presence, and peace. Because aging is not about disappearing, it's about becoming more real than ever before. So whether you're feeling these changes for the first time, or you've been living them for years, remember, you are not alone. And you are not broken. You are becoming, and becoming is a powerful thing. If this video has touched you, please Like this video to let us and the YouTube algorithm know that this message matters. Subscribe to Daily Elder Advice and click the bell icon so you never miss another moment of clarity or connection. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. What part resonated with you most? What truth have you been living silently? And if you know someone who might need these words, please share this video with them. You never know who it might reach at just the right time. This is only the beginning. In part 2, we'll continue this honest conversation with the remaining 6 truths, covering emotional shifts, fading senses, sleep disruptions, sensitivity to temperature, mood changes, and the delicate balance between independence and asking for help. Don't miss part 2, where we'll dive even deeper into the invisible, powerful, and very human realities of aging. Until then, be kind to yourself, breathe slowly, and trust that your journey, even with all its changes, is unfolding exactly as it should. Because you're not just aging, you're evolving, and you're doing it beautifully.